as the lights go on. And out they go. And it's not such a good start by Andy Hiley this time. Paul Collingwood gets away best. Hiley might lose a couple more positions, I think, as they make their way up to Rich's corner for the first time. Anton Landon's got a good start again from the third row of the grid, but it is Hiley that holds on to second place. Landon's there in fourth. I think it's Chris Pike there in third position, isn't it? The number 25 Procomp LA Cup. But already, look, Andy Hiley back on the tail of Paul Collingwood in the Eclipse. So it's the Eclipse lead in the Chronos in second place, side by side for third. That was Stuart Thompson, I think, trying to get a move on Chris Pike there. And the rest of them filtering their way through. The 27 car you can see is Andrew Hayward, who started on row 8 of the grid with the black cross on the yellow background here, the Norris cross as we call it. So here's Paul Collingwood already under pressure.
And for third, Landon gets past Pike. The car that was really sideways at the hairpin was the Caterham of Chris Kirby, who had made a good start. Look at Stuart Much, he's into the top 6 from quite a bit further back on the grid, 13th. So a couple of drivers making good starts. Somebody who hasn't is Steve Wells. He's way back, isn't he? From the second row of the grid, going side by side there with Marcus Roskill. Here are the leaders, though. Collingwood under pressure from the leader going into Murray's, so they accelerate up across the line with the Kronos ahead of the Eclipse, and he now comes to the outside as Andy Hiley. The two leaders are almost overlapping as they head off down towards Ritchie's, but Hiley can't do it. Collingwood stays in front as they turn right into Ritchie's.
Yep, so there we are. It's Collingwood leading, Hiley in second place. Quite a gap back to third then, which is Anton Landon, as they go up to the Wilson hairpin. So those two pulling away from the rest of the field. Let's have a look a bit further back. Oh, and that's Stuart Thompson and Chris Pike side by side again. And this time, Stuart Much, number 7 in the MEV MX 150R, racing a different class, is able to make it through. But Paul Collingwood continues to lead.
He's got a bit of a bigger gap, I'd suggest, to Andy Hiley as they head under the bridge into the left-hander at Brundle. Yes, that gap is going out. Is all okay with Hiley's car, I wonder, because it's extended quite quickly. But in the previous race, we saw the second half of the lap where Hiley was quicker. So let's see if he comes back towards Collingwood in this part of the circuit. They turn right through Coram. It's actually a bigger margin, isn't it, for Collingwood? It'll be interesting to see what the lap times are here. Whether Collingwood's found more pace from the earlier race, or that's an issue for Hiley at the first half of the lap. Across the line they come. I think Hiley's starting to gradually come back to Collingwood again, but of course it is a bigger gap now, a full second. Yeah,
let's keep an eye on the lap times once they get up to speed a bit more. Landon third, Stuart Much fourth, Stuart Thompson fifth, Chris Pike in sixth place.
It's an 18 from Collingwood, so that's a really quick first lap.
Yeah, so what was the best lap in the race? It was an 18.41, and that was an 18.72 for Paul Collingwood. So
I think that's quicker than what Collingwood went earlier, wasn't it? He was in the 19s this morning.
So not quite underneath Hiley's lap record that he set earlier on today, though. There's the 13 car, which is Colin Charles in 7th position, just ahead of number 18, Colin Benham, and 74, Stephen Wells, who's trying to recover the ground that he lost at the start of the race.
I think it's Benham that leads Class B, isn't it, ahead of Wells?
Yeah, it is at the moment.
And here's a challenge as Chris Pike tries to fight back here on Stuart Thompson. Up the inside into Brundle. Unable to go through though, so that's the MK Indy ahead there of the Procomp LA Gold.
Yeah, both very nicely turned out pieces of machinery. Thompson there, having switched from the Caterham that he raced last season. Turned his way through towards Coram Curve on this, the third lap of the race, 15-minute race. Earlier on we got 12 laps out of it. So if we get 12 again, it's already flashed across the line. But
it's leader singular.
I
saw one car flash past the commentary box window.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, we've lost Andy Hiley. So Andy Hiley in the Chronos from second place has gone missing somewhere. We'll see if we can pick up where he has gone.
Car going out the pits.
Ah, yeah, that's Andy Hiley. So he must have called into the pits and gone back out again, straight back out again.
We wondered why he wasn't quite keeping up with Collingwood, didn't we? And Collingwood was going quickly, which was one of the possible reasons, but also that's a bit of a problem then for Andy Hiley.
Well, let's see where he fills in, because of course now it's not showing on our screen because he'd gone into the pit.
Well, it shows 6th, but of course he was still accelerating at that point.
Yeah, so...
But here's Landon in second, Much is third, 4th is Thompson, 5th is Pike. We'll see who comes over the crest next. Is Hiley one of these cars?
There's a white flag, and I think that's been waved for Andy Hiley, isn't it? So I think he has got a proper problem now, and he's going to be out of the race. So the answer to the question is that it's Colin Charles, then it's Colin Benham, the Class B leader, just ahead of Steve Wells, the Isle of Wight man.
Good to see Colin Benham going well this weekend. He turns his way out of Snetterton. Don't think we saw any class wins from him last year, and he's currently leading Class B here. I think he's a former champion, Colin Benham.
Yeah, back in 2013 in an STM Phoenix, it was that he had at that point. He's in the CB Fury now.
Both of these Class B cars went round the outside of Colin Childs at Coram there. And the Caterham, Chris Kirby's going better in this race. Actually, he's also in Class B, and he's going after now these top two. So lots more pace from Kirby this time. There's a three-car battle then for Class B across the line, and then they've got that Class A machine of Colin Childs amongst them, and that might hold Wells up a bit here through the corners.
Yeah, there they go. As you say, Chris Kirby there. Only did a couple of meetings so far in the MSV Allcombers at Snetterton, the Track Day Trophy at Brands Hatch, so still relatively inexperienced, but he's trying to put a move here on Steve Wells. And Chris Kirby, the 35-year-old from Brentwood, goes through on the inside. And now he's got the 13-car of Colin Charles to deal with as well, but Steve Wells, first of all, is coming back at him.
Great racing from two their different type of 7-shaped cars as they make their way down towards Brundle. This is all allowing Colin Benham to get away within the category. There he is, car 18. And that's the Class A car there, Colin Charles amongst them. So not battling for the same points. There's Hiley in the pits with the problem.
Yeah, second time that he's been in the pits in the space of 2 laps. I think this time he's realised that it's gone kaput. He did have some reliability issues with this car previously, but last year he really got it to work well. Colin Charles has lost a couple of places there, hasn't he? Because Steve Wells and Chris Kirby have gone through. Good move that from Kirby at Coram, isn't it? To go all the way around the outside. Crossed up on Murray's though, and probably loses momentum, and Steve Wells will get him back along the centre straight.
He did go round the outside of 2 cars at Coram, which is a pretty brave move, it has to be said. Didn't really work on Weld. Now has the Sienna got a problem? Colin Childs, he's not really as far up as he was in the earlier race, and now he seems to be slowing, heading up towards Ritchie's. Yeah, he's dropped away from those Class B cars significantly, so problems too now for Colin Childs, and a similar car of Rob Johnston hasn't made it out in this race either.
No, so Charles pulling off. We saw Johnston retire from the earlier race, sadly, didn't we? So a slightly reduced grid for this second race of the day for the Protech Shock Sports Specials. So heading towards us here is Colin Benham in the number 18 car in 6th position overall, leading Class B. But he's the battle for the lead of Class B because Steve Wells right behind him in number 74. And now the Callahan car, the Tadek, has arrived in the pit lane as well. So it's getting busy in there now. Here's Mark Callahan, we think, in this race.
Out over the grass a little bit there with the Caterham of Colin Child. But Steve Wells has got away from him, hasn't he? And Wells is going after Colin Benham, the leader now in the category within Class B. Here they are through Coram. And the Caterham catches again, doesn't he? So the 3 leaders in Class B are all together, which is great to see. Can see Wells challenge Benham here down the centre straight. We're into the second half of this race now. Somebody's getting a driving standards flag, but let's watch the B class cars as they cross the line. The Caterham's fallen away a bit again, but Steve Wells focusing forward, trying to get ahead of Colin Benham here.
Quick rundown on the order then. It's number 11 Paul Collingwood that leads on 64 Anton Landon. 3rd is number 7 Stuart Much. 4th number 30 Stuart Thompson. 5th is 25 Chris Pike. Then 6th the Class B leader at the moment, number 18 Colin Benham. From number 74 Stephen Wells. 8th number 15 Christopher Kirby. 9th number 10 Nigel Brown. And it's Marcus Roskill who retired from the earlier race in 10th place, number 62.
Meanwhile, that Class B battle is continuing, and Steve Wells trying to challenge now down the Bentley straight, trying to get the better of Colin Benham, but he has to tuck back in the tow. 2 different shaped cars here, the Fury and the Sub-Zero car behind of Steve Wells. Is he looking to the inside there? Couldn't make it work. And then the Caterham Chaser of Chris Kirby. They make their way towards the end of the lap with just about a third of the race to go. Where can Steve Wells find a way through? He seems good on the exit of corners, but can't quite yet translate that into a pass.
No, Not as yet. We're about to go into the last sort of third of the race. A bit of a mistake there, though, from Colin Benham at Murray's, but the best run through there appears to have come from the Caterham of Chris Kirby there, the man in 8th position overall, was 3rd in class. I think he's moved up to 2nd now ahead. No, he's not. He's still behind Stephen Wells in actual fact. So it's still Benham, Wells and Kirby. But then they're almost 3 wide into Richie's corner. Benham has gone to the back of the group, but who's going to lead it is going to be Wells. So as they head up to Wilson now, it's Steve Wells, number 74, that's gone into the lead of Class B. And was there a touch there, Josh?
Yes, it looked like it. I think they've got away with it. You saw a puff of smoke, perhaps the 2 tyres touched there on the Kirby car and Benham. But great bit of racing in Class B, particularly the second half of last year. Chris Pike dominated it, didn't he? But now he's moved up to Class A. We're seeing some great racing here at Snetterton within that class. Wells leading now. Can he get away from Benham with the Caterham chasing of Kirby? Yeah, Wells getting away, perhaps that touch between the chasers didn't help their cause as they make their way round this 7th lap of the race, which is already, this 8th lap of the race, sorry, which is already completed by the leading Class A cars, Collingwood and Landon up front.
Yeah, Landon about 11 seconds adrift of the race leader, Paul Collingwood, but it's been a good day for him so far. In the earlier race, he finished in 3rd place, on course for a 2nd position here. As we watch the Class B battle go side by side, and it's the Caterham that's come out in front of Christopher Kirby, but I notice he does have a 5-second penalty now, so I imagine that's for exceeding track limits.
He's been shown the board.
So he is behind Colin Benham on track, and he will be docked a further 5 seconds because of those track limits infringements. At the moment he's 3 seconds in front of Nigel Brown, so 3.5, so we'll see how that shakes out before the end of the race. But Steve Wells all of a sudden was 3 and a bit seconds clear of Benham, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he's got a lot more pace, it would suggest. Steve Wells doing a 1:24, isn't he? So a bit quicker than those behind. And of course they've been battling as well, Benham and Kirby. Wells was ahead of them, wasn't he, in the previous race? He fell down the order in that first lap, Wells, and now he's been fighting back, and he appears to have the pace to get away.
Yeah, Wells with 8th, Benham 9th, and Kirby 12th in the earlier race.
Oh, I hope that curves the Caterham. A bit dramatic for Chris Kirby, who's already been warned for track limits.
He is literally a bit Kirby, that is his problem, isn't it? He's using far too much of it, and he's getting penalised as a result. So, he's trying to go around the outside of Benham again. We've seen him do this once already. He's good at that. And he takes the place away from Benham this time on the road at least, but of course he does have that 5-second penalty to be inflicted upon him. Straight away though, on the exit from he loses out, so he might cotton on at some point that actually, although it looked good for a while, it doesn't work out so well in the long run.
Good fun though.
Yeah.
As a novice driver, that's what you're here for. Well, I think pretty much everybody's here in the 750 Motor Club for fun, aren't they?
I would hope so, but it does get very competitive. Here's Paul Collingwood. We've not seen him for a little while in the Eclipse. He's 11 seconds in the lead of this race with the sort of frightening teeth on the front of the car to scare the back markers out of the way. And he's getting past 1 or 2 more of them now. Completes his 10th lap, and he will have, he'll have 2 more laps won't he, to make it a 12-lap race.
Didn't go any quicker, I don't think, than that 2nd lap of the race, did he? Of course, with Hiley falling out, he didn't really need to push on so hard.
He's just got past both Haywoods, Andrew and now Martin, who are running in 12th and 11th places respectively. So his laps everyone up to 11th position at the moment as race leader Paul Collingwood.
Imagine Anton Landon will be pleased with this weekend, isn't he? Because he didn't get any podiums last year, and he was 3rd earlier, and he's 2nd this time. Here's
Marcus Roskill. He's the next victim for Paul Collingwood potentially before the end of this race. I should think he will be lapped. There's the scene at Murray's. There's Nigel Brown going through.
Has Kirby got past Benham, I wonder, in that battle? He hasn't.
It's still Benham ahead, isn't it? So I think for Class B it is going to be Wells, Benham and Kirby in that order, because Kirby is sufficiently far ahead of Roskill. That 5-second penalty not to matter. Although if it starts to increase with more infringements, then possibly that could change the order. So Marcus Roskill is now going to be lapped by the race leader, who is going to start his last lap. Yes, just gets the signal from the marshal there. Oh, and Steve Wells has gone off the circuit and sat out of the lead of Class B.
He's pulled off, I reckon. So that's
I can see why. Yes, and I'm afraid there's something of a conflagration there. Hopefully he's got the extinguisher switch pulled, and hopefully the marshals and the fire crew will be on scene shortly. So, dramatic moment there. Here comes the marshal with the extinguisher. Stephen's foot has been extinguished, which is good news. Hope he's okay. Already pushed into the car, but the marshal getting in there and trying to get that fire out. I'm sure there'll be a fire truck en route as well.
I think even though with all that, he's more concerned about his car than himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
But
he obviously knew what was going on, though. He's now got the now got the engine bay open to.
Such a shame for him, because he's having a great weekend, wasn't he? He was going to be the overall championship leader after the weekend, but that's no more. Real shame for Steve Wells. And a long trip home now with a broken car.
No, absolutely. Right, we are on the last lap now. Paul Collingwood is leading, and the checkered flag is being made ready. Just trying to figure out exactly where Paul Collingwood is. There he is, coming out of Murray's past the pit lane entrance, and so up to the line to take the checkered flag. So 2 different winners today in the Protech Shock Sports Specials Championship. Earlier on, it was Andy Harley. Today, or for this race, it is Paul Collingwood, and it's going to be a convincing win for him in the end, from Anton Landon, who comes over the line now in 2nd place. And then who is going to be 3rd? Well, it's Stuart Much, actually, in 3rd position. And not too far behind Landon in the end. 4th place goes the way of Chris Pike there, number 25. And Stuart Thompson, I think, is due to come through in 5th place. Here he is, after what's been a relatively lonely race, I think, for much of it, for him. And then Class B, well, that will go the way of Colin Benham in the end. One of the slower cars comes through.
A shame Kirby's got this penalty, otherwise we would have had this battle for Class B honours, as it turned out, between the 2 of them. See if we can pick them up. Benham and Kirby, 18 and 15, the 2 Class B leaders. Don't think they've been lapped quite, had they, by the overall leader. So making their way to the end, a long way behind the Class A cars, as you'd expect, less power. And on the road it is Colin Benham as well, as for the in the position. He's actually pulled away in after all that.
Yeah, he had.
Tom Kirby.
Yeah, who finished behind Nigel Brown, one of the Class A cars in the end. So I think that's most of them that have crossed the line now, isn't it, that are going to. So let's give you a rundown on the order. So the win went to number 11, Paul Collingwood. He beat Anton Landon, number 64, by 8.06 seconds. In 3rd place, number 7, Stuart Much. 4th went to number 25, Chris Pike. In 5th place, number 30, Stuart Thompson. 6th was number 18, Colin Benham. 7th to number 10, Nigel Brown. 8th to number 15, Christopher Kirby. 9th to 62, Marcus Roskill. And 10th to number 65, Martin Hayward. And that brings our Protech Shock Sports Specials action to an end for this weekend. And they are back in action at Silverstone in August, and then they have a couple more meetings at Anglesey and Alton Park to round out their year. So look forward to that. We still have another 4 races to look forward to. We've got the Demons Week Yokohama Classic Stock Cats Championship coming up next, then the Yokohama Mazda 7s, the 90-minute race for the Gaz Shocks 116 Trophy, and the Takiwa Type R Trophy as well. But you can see that Paul Collingwood just pulling into the pit lane now, so let's head down once again to Anthony Jordan.
Mic check. Well done there. What a race that was, right to the end. It was...
Well, I never saw anybody really after the first lap. Never really saw anybody. I don't know what happened, so...
Well, we could see from the start we had an issue with the 53 that had to pull in, so your main competition for that one did pull in quite early on. But yeah, we saw in the first race, of course, that near the end you had a big puff of smoke come out the back, so we were wondering what had happened.
That was actually a CV joint that had, the rubber had split, so it's thanks to Andy Hiley that I was racing again. So.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's paid off. You've got a race win this time around, so congratulations on that one.
Thank you very much.
Excellent stuff. Well done.